Aloha mai kako. My name is Auli'i Cravahlo. I was born and raised on the big island of Hawaii, or Hawaii Island, and I grew up in a single-parent household. My mom raised me on food stamps. I am so grateful to her. Her name is Kathleen Puanani Lensui Cravahlo. Her lineage is then Freitas, which is from Madeiros, Portugal, and then Ke'ana'aina, which we can trace our lineage then back to the kings and queens of Hawaii. I'm so grateful for the women that have taught me and have raised me. I have a whole bunch of Hanai family as well who've taken me under their wing for no reason other than because they love me. And today we'll read more about incredible women in this book, Notable Native People by Adrienne Keene. 50 Indigenous leaders, dreamers, and changemakers from past and present. Janet Mock.
Hi, my name is Janet. I was welcomed into this world as Charles, the firstborn son of my parents in Honolulu, Hawaii. I was probably about 4 years old when I knew that I was a girl. No one else knew this but me, but it became my very first conviction.
Janet Mock is a well-known author, talk show host, TV producer, director, and transgender rights advocate who grew up in urban Honolulu with her native Hawaiian mother and African-American father. Janet always knew who she was and began her gender transition as a freshman in high school. She spent some of her childhood in Texas and California, where she struggled in school and socially, but moved back to Hawaii when she was 12 to live with her mother. She credits her experiences growing up in Hawaii, where she had positive role models in trans friends, teachers, and community members, as helping her to feel comfortable with her identity at a young age.
I went back to live with my mom in 1995, and it was a new world in a sense. Like, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Hawaii. There would be no me. There's a space within the Hawaiian culture, which my mom is from, which I grew up in. There was a space for a third gender beyond male and female, a cultural space called mahu. And the mahu within Hawaiian culture was someone that kind of embodied all genders, was kind of a champion of gender nonconformity, of the arts, of kind of being revered within the culture. And so it was nice to grow up in a space where at the bottom minimum level, at least you were gender nonconformity and gender diversity was at least tolerated, if not accepted.
After graduating from the University of Hawaii at Manoa, she attended New York University and earned a master's degree in journalism.
I don't think I really got politicized or radicalized until I was in college. I had access to feminist texts. I was able to learn about, the gay and lesbian liberation. Got to learn about the roots of Stonewall and how trans women and queer youth and drag queens were on the front lines that night at Stonewall. Thinking about Sylvia Rivera, Marsha P. Johnson, Miss Major Griffin Gracie, these trans women of color who were like radical revolutionaries.
She publicly came out as trans in an article in Marie Claire in 2011 while she was working as a staff editor at People magazine. The next year, her memoir Redefining Realness, which is about her experiences in adolescence, was published and became a New York Times bestseller. She went on to host her own pop culture talk show, So Popular, while continuing to write, report, and contribute to many other media outlets. In 2018, Janet became a writer, producer, and director for the award-winning FX show Pose, which follows the lives of 5 trans women in the New York City ballroom scene in the late 1980s. She is the first transgender woman of color to write and direct any television episode, and the show has been lauded for its inclusion of trans actors and an accurate representation of trans life. In 2017, she spoke at the Women's March in Washington, D.C., calling attention to the role and struggles of trans women in the feminist movement, and for the need to recognize those who came before. She said,
I stand here today as the daughter of a native Hawaiian woman and a Black veteran from Texas. I stand here as the first person in my family to go to college. I stand here as someone who has written herself onto this stage. to unapologetically proclaim that I am a trans woman writer, activist, revolutionary of color. And I stand here today because of the work of my forebears, from Sojourner to Sylvia, from Ella to Audrey, from Harriet to Marcia. I stand here today, most of all, because I am my sister's keeper.
Janet continues to build on the legacy of those women, forging a path for others to follow. Mahalo nui loa, Janet. I hope to meet you one day. And thank you so much for listening to this story.